Well, crap. Is there no sound? Oh, well, I guess we're going to have to come back to that. Dan, how you going, buddy?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
Great to see you. And we have your partner in crime, Will.
My man, Will. How are you, Will?
Hey, brother, how are you? Welcome.
Doing all right. Hanging in there.
My good
That
friend
was a great start. I could have sworn I shared the audio on that.
All good, man.
Oh, well.
We are in the presence
we didn't need to watch the trailer. We've got you here.
Of the estimable Michael Bancroft, who I've been on many live streams with Shay.
It's awesome.
Yes, yes. And we've got a couple of my friends here too. We've got Poland and Blue Samurai. These guys are my regulars. They're my wingmen.
What's up, wingmen? How are you guys?
Hey, Dan.
How you doing?
We're really excited to get you on here, Dan. We've been big fans of you ever since you entered Comic Skates, and we've been watching your ascent closely.
It's a crazy thing, man. Not something, that was expected. I had hopes and dreams, and they've all been knocked out of the park. All thanks to Comic Skate and all the wonderful customers, and it's just been insane. It's been a good time.
Awesome. Yeah, did you? Because I remember when you first came in, you shared an anecdote about how with your last book, you made it, and then with all the cuts, to Diamond and Image and blah blah blah, you ended up with barely nothing.
Yeah, for a whole year's worth of work on The Grave, I think I got paid like under $800. And it sold almost 2,000 copies at $18 a piece, and when you look at that and you just go, hey, the system is broken. How am I supposed to, like the whole idea of this, obviously we want to make money, but the main idea behind this is the ability to make enough that you get to make more. And that's really what I love doing. I love making these books. I love working with Will. I love working with Matt and Shelby and Ken. And the success of this campaign ensures that we can do another one, and and hopefully another and another, and expand upon that, because this is what I love to do.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. We're not in this to ride around on big yachts and maybe some of that ass titty on the side. But,
yeah, on the side, right there next to me when I go to bed at night.
That's right. I'm a married man as well.
I don't know, you guys. My wife is very, very. I mean, everybody's going to say that, but my wife is very attractive. I find her very. I like her ass titties. Let's just put it that
way. Me too. Not your wife, my wife.
I know. I get you. Damn it, Michael.
Hey, Michael.
I know, yeah. Keep my eyes on my own, yeah?
Yeah.
We've got lots of dudes here in the chat. This is awesome. Who have we got here? We've got, let's just say hello to the chat a little bit. We've got VIP. We've got Anthony Perrone. Crackhead Jeremy's here. Skip Edwards Art is here. He says, what's up, guys? VIP says, back Black Flag.
Definitely.
Antoine Dennison is looking at my sub count. He's checking me out. And,
all right.
Yeah, it's been going up and up, dude. I was hoping we could get to 1,200 before the stream started, but I think we just didn't make it. That's all right.
Oh, we can get this done.
Get this
done.
Oh, look, there's Couch Doodles in here. He says
word. I said word in there. Yeah, I was up in there.
Cinema.
Yeah.
What's he got here? Bacon.
That's bacon. I'm a big fan of bacon.
Nice.
I had to drop some bacon in the chat.
Bacon evangelist.
I am.
Indigenous monstrosity with monstrositus.
I love that guy. Boom. Look who's in the room. Tikal. Yeah, it's a Method Man song.
Some regular Cygnus 5 is here. This is so cool. We're seeing new people. We're seeing our friends. They're all friends, but we got new friends now. Hal the chat. Absolutely. Wiggle Wiggles here. He says, Hal panel. Hal Wiggle Wiggle.
What's up, Wiggle? What's up, Johnny Rando? Good to see these guys.
Love to see Johnny Rando.
Yeah, he's right.
All right. And Smiling Bandito's in the chat, but he's usually another regular on the show as well. He might come in later and say hello.
He came on the same stream that you were on. Yeah. I like him. Real cool guy.
Absolutely, yeah. We love him here. I call these guys the A-Team.
Dun, 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 dun.
So yeah, Will was just mentioning. I've been on a couple of streams with him now. We go on Red Valkyrie show. I don't know if you know her, Shay Zombie.
Yeah, Shay. Yeah, she's amazing.
Yeah, I met her on your show.
Yeah, she's hosting. She's hosting me on Saturday. I get to hang out with her on her show on Saturday. You gonna be there too, Will?
Yeah, I mean, if you guys got room for me, I'll be there.
Of course. Yeah. And then, no, she's great. I like her energy.
We talked writing over there. We talked. What did we talk? Editing.
I've watched a few. It's heavy for me.
It is. I was watching you just on Ethan just before, sitting there getting slowly baked.
Well, some of the stuff on Ethan's show, I just have no comment on. You know, it's like I almost feel like I'm in the audience, and I'm like, whoa, this is crazy. And then I'm like, oh shit, I'm on the panel too. Maybe that's the weed talking, but that you know. Yeah,
he likes to make people. I don't know. He put them on the spot.
Yeah,
and get some heavy comments and stuff.
Yeah, it was interesting. This show was interesting. A lot of bits on cancel culture and just the weirdness of the world. And I mean, it's funny because like I don't know how much Will has talked about the plot of this book because we're keeping it kind of mum. But like one of the major themes of Black Flag is the sort of the state of the world. You know, we have it takes place. The main part of the story takes place in Dagger City, where the sinkhole is opened up, and they think it's a municipal problem, like maybe the sewer has gone bad, and they send these probes in, and the probes keep disappearing. The military shows up out of the blue, and then this big raging monster comes up from out of this hole, and we end up finding out a bit more about this monster and why, and the source of it, and we end up also finding out in this issue that it's a lot bigger than just a hole in the middle of a city. So Black Flag's a lot of fun. You know,
I can see that just from the cover.
Yeah, I try to put as many archetypes as I could in there. And one of the wonderful things, and I feel super lucky and blessed for this, is I've known Will since we met in '95, right, Will?
We've been friends for 26 years.
Almost 20.
Nice.
I've known Will since he was 12, right? And I wasn't much older. I think I was maybe 21 or 22.
Yep, 21.
You weren't the guy in the cinema line, were you, Will? Was that you? Was
That's
that
Matt Yackey, my colorist.
Oh, okay.
We met while waiting to get to go in to see the first showing of Phantom Menace way back.
My story is much more engineered. You know, how I met FRAGA.
Yeah, he was Will became an intern at Extreme Studios, and one of the things that I really love about Will is his passion for the characters. He's been there since Ground Zero when it comes to Black Flag, so he knows these characters and knows where my passions are. And what I try to do is create these archetypes in which I will always find fun in. So I've got my oversized gun carrying soldier type, who's like your Captain America, had his country betrayed him, kind of a man with no country. You have Tony Stark, if Tony Stark was a beautiful half Japanese, half Anglo woman. You've got a big giant purple gorilla, military engineered weapon. You've got this mystic wizard in our character Raiden, and then you've got this alien. Probably, I would say he's probably the one I have the most fun drawing. But I always have the most fun drawing whoever I'm drawing. But Rascal, the guy in blue there with the red hair and the liquidy his stuff, and it's so cool to see Blue Samurai has that as his icon. I love that. That was a lot of fun to do. I'm a huge Todd McFarlane fan, and one of the things, and
see that cover. We're the one of few books that has a inked
Bandito
McFarlane cover.
Hail.
If you can see that right there
Mets.
in the.
Oh wow! Yeah, look at that.
Yeah,
So
McFarlane inked me, right? And I've been. I don't want to say I'm a day oneer with Todd because I didn't pick up Coyote or Infinity Inc., but I certainly found his stuff when he was working on Hulk. And I followed him over to Spider-Man and followed all of that stuff. I met him when I was 16. I met Todd Talked to him for a little while, got his autograph. Have read every interview he's ever done since back then, more than 3 or 4 times. Got to interview him myself. Huge fan. So Rascal is sort of my my way of having fun with my love for McFarlane. And then, of course, I was the perfect sweet spot age in 1985 when Thundercats debuted. And while most people were like, yo, I love Lino or Panthro or Chitara or Tigra, I thought Wily Cat and Wily Kit were the coolest. I loved all of their magic pouches and like the way they would hop and jump and hover on hoverboards. I thought they were cool. So that I included 2 really cool kids in my team. So basically this team for me as an artist and as a creator is a lot of wish fulfillment. But there's also a lot of themes that happen in there, and Will and I will spend and will continue to spend countless hours discussing what makes this team tick, why they work together, but also Will kind of make sense of my crazy. That's the other thing that's a lot of fun in this partnership is like. I come up with these crazy ideas and sort of loosely the why of it all. And Will is there to really question all of it, tie it all together, put a plausibility in there. Very, very, I feel absolutely lucky to be working with my friend.
So, Will, were you on board from the beginning? Like, was it Dan? Was it like this is always going to be written by Will? Is that how it went, or did you have to?
No, I mean, it was kind of it's actually kind of I think a nice story. I mean, I was, if we get personal for a minute, I had just gotten out of I've basically been dumped by the girl I was living with at the time. And I was kind of recovering from that. And, you're reevaluating your life when you close a chapter of something very intense like that.
Yeah.
And I started thinking, okay, I ignored a lot of people while this was going on. I was preoccupied. I'm in another state. So I started calling all my friends and just apologizing for not being around. And one of the guys I called that day was Dan. And I just told him how much I loved him and how much he's my brother. And, I was in a very low spot. And Dan was talking to me and he said, I've written this outline for Black Flag. And, do you want to take a look at it? And I think he gave it to me at the time to just keep me busy. But for some reason, we just kept talking about it for about 5 months. And I guess I talked enough about it where I became integral to it.
Yep.
And eventually, when things got serious, I was just part of the fabric of it, I suppose. By then, because like I said, we had talked it so much. My brain was intertwined with it.
Yeah, absolutely. That sounds cool, man.
So if that girl hadn't helped me, I wouldn't be here.
So thank you to her. I mean,
yes.
from bad things come good things. What is it? The door closes and a window opens. He says, "Evening, gents. Great to see you here, buddy."
Oh, what's up, Camel Moon? I always wonder, like, whenever I'm on a stream, whether it's on my own show or a show like this, every now and then, like, and it's from working on the Ricky Gervais show, I'll catch people say things, and my first thought is always, I wonder if Camel Moon's going to grab that.
He says there's a new episode coming next week.
No, I can't wait. Hopefully we get some ass titty in there or some pink bunny fun.
I think there's going to be some plug buddy or something like that in there from the look of his promo. So that could be interesting.
So how did you come up with Lucid?
Oh man, I was having really crazy dreams back when I was in college. We call it university.
Yeah. And
I was having really weird hours, and I started lucid dreaming, and I realized that I could actually get better at it. I could train myself to do things in the dream that I couldn't do as well the last time.
Whoa! And you're gonna have to tell me some of these techniques, because I've always wanted to do that. It's been a rare occasion, And I always, when I wake up out of them, I'm like, that was fucking awesome. I wish I could do this on the regular.
Well, yeah, and that's another skill, is not
Yeah.
waking yourself up. You can't get too intense with it, because you'll start to you'll just kind of kick yourself out of it.
Yeah.
So you kind of know where that point is where you can keep going.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I was learning how to fly, like Superman, and I was doing just all this really cool stuff, and it just had a huge impact on me, to the point where I was doing what's called wake-induced lucid dreaming, which is when you kind of just meditate. You lie down when you're awake, you lie down on your bed, and you, through meditation, slowly put your body to sleep. And it sounds really crazy that you can actually do this, and you can hallucinate. You can hallucinate.
It's right up my alley, dude.
Yeah. So that's what I was doing. I was just like doing this technique and just having the craziest drug-free hallucinations and experiences. And I'd be like, when you're inside a lucid dream like that, it's so real. It's like you're just in your normal self, but you can do these insane things. So this just was in the back of my head for a long time, and I thought, God, imagine you have that what if moment. What if this could be real? And we're tapping into some like mind over matter ability here, and the story just kind of percolated from there.
That's fantastic.
That's the background of it. But we're talking about Black Flag today.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, don't shift your attention, Frega.
Yeah, we'll get you on my show to talk about Lucid.
Oh, I love that.
We got to get Mike on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
We got some more people here coming too. Wow, this is really cool. James Dean Anderson is here.
What up, JDA?
He was once
good
hallucinating
JDA.
that Dan FRAGA wore a pink bunny costume. I've had that same hallucination.
It's been going. It's a hallucination that's been going on now for about 40 days.
None of us can wake up.
How's
You
that
are
thing
washing
smell?
that thing, right?
I haven't washed it, but here's the thing. It smells wonderful because before I stream, I'll go take a shower and get really very clean, and I put on Versace Eros. So if anything, it smells like cologne.
Oh. You brought up the Ricky Gervais show earlier.
Yeah.
I'm just a monstrous fan of Ricky Gervais, and I actually think Ricky Gervais is, I think, like Todd McFarlane and Ricky Gervais, those two people, they're like, the rare kind of person that comes around only once, in a very, once in a blue moon, and just sort of, just affects everything. Everything that Ricky Gervais has put out, like he can do so many things. His drama acting, his drama writing, his comedy, his radio shows.
And what's crazy is he didn't start going at it until he was 41.
Yeah, like he's real working class.
Yeah,
it's just amazing. And Todd sort of did the same thing. Just coming into comics and just kind of revolutionizing everything. So
I love the animations you've done that are in that flavor too.
Oh yeah, I mean you hit the nail on the head. You were talking about it to John the other day, and you said they're directly. I mean that's what they're from. That's where I get all the beats from and the style and everything. It was just because that's how I watch. That's how I watch you guys when you guys are talking funny stuff. That's how I kind of see it.
Yeah, little sidebar snippet, little vignettes. Like when someone tells a story, you cut away. I mean, I was super honored to be included on the boat. I was like, oh shit, I'm on the boat.
Yeah, of course you're on the boat. You're when you first kind of came in, that was sort of what really piqued my interest. Was all the stories that you have about the wokies.
Oh
and, just the way the state of the industry and.
Well, they're out there in full raging, man. They're fully raging still.
Yeah, we're just being so successful in Comicsgate that we forget how in control they are of everything else. So we've kind of carved out our own little niche here.
That's okay, man. I grew up in the Bay Area in California, where underground comics were very prevalent. You had guys like Crumb in Spain, Fabulous Freak Brothers. All those underground comics were coming out of Haight-Ashbury and Berkeley area. So I think I grew up around that sort of independent spirit, started my career at Image Comics, which was, you know, independent spirit. This just, for me, feels 100% right.
And
awesome.
on that note, Dan, one of the things that Incredible Comics is sort of out to do, it's a very ambitious project and goal, but we just sort of want to deliver on the promise of Image, really, is kind of what me and Dan have talked about, you know, which is art, technology, but also great storytelling as well.
Yeah, great. That's the thing, man, is there's a saying by a rapper named Big Daddy Kane, guy from the late 80s, and it was, ain't no half-stepping. And that's the thing with Black Flag, is in the design of this thing, in the situations that we're in, it's something I can't wait. I look forward to every time I get to the board. I can't wait to draw this stuff, and I can't wait to stay with those characters. It's a world, and these are characters I enjoy. And this story is unlike anything that's ever been done before. I know that sounds crazy and grandiose, but by the time issue 4 comes out and this thing is a wrap, when people are done with it, they might come back to a video much like this one we're making right now and go, oh, FRAGA was right. And the reason I say shit like that is I've been studying books like this, is Comics Interview number 2 with Frank Miller. It's an interview with Frank Miller while he was working on Ronin. I also have other issues from Frank Miller interviews while he was working on Dark Knight. And you hear him or read him saying things to the interviewers that allude to things that if you didn't already read the book, you'd be like, whoa, fuck, that's crazy. But now knowing my Dark Knight history like I do and going back and reading these interviews where he's talking about the series before it came out, you're just like, oh shit, he was dropping breadcrumbs like a motherfucker. I will just tell you, there's never been storytelling done like this before. And right,
yeah, I love to hear that.
Yeah,
I love to hear that.
You don't, like, on its surface, and the reason why I don't really talk about the plot too much, and don't worry, Will, I won't give up anything. On its surface, it looks like a very...
I'm looking at your lips. I'm like, I'm going to stop him the moment something happens.
You're his chaperone. Okay, I understand. I understand the relationship better now.
Exactly.
On its surface, it looks sort of like a mindless 90s, Michael Bay, Mountain Dew soaked, which it definitely is, but it isn't just, is all I'm saying.
I love hearing that. I try to do the same thing in the Lucid as well. I have stuff in there that you'll just be reading and you'll just have to accept in the first issue. You might not understand the whole reasoning behind it, and then once you're up to issue 3, 4, 5, you can go back and go, oh my God, yes, it was all there from the beginning. I just hadn't, there's no, the puzzle pieces weren't connected yet.
Yeah,
they were there, but they weren't together.
It's that M. Night Shyamalan thing. I mean, that's the bummer, like, of M. Night Shyamalan. I'm not going to go too far off the path, but, like, you see the, of course, the movie's not coming to me, but the I See Dead People movie.
Oh,
Sixth Sense.
Thank you. Sometimes my brain goes, I'm not giving you that right now. But Sixth Sense,
I have that too.
The first time you watch it, you're like, oh my God, you can't believe it. And then you watch it again and you're like, holy shit, oh fuck, it's been in front of me the whole time. That's the kind of story we're going to be telling. But, like, dial it up. Dial it up, dial it up, dial it up.
Well, also, Dan, I want to add to what you just said that unlike M. Night Shyamalan, the whole book isn't built around that. Haha, gotcha.
No, it's not at all.
It's a series of things, storytelling-wise, to show the audience that anything is possible in our universe and in our book.
Yeah,
it's not going to be standard, and that's what I love about it. Is that when you get to issue 2 and the pieces are really moving around the board, so to speak, you're gonna be like, okay, anything can happen, and it's really cool.
Hey, can I do you think I can, without spoiling it, tell them about the stretch goal The stretch goal that comes with issue 3, the decoder.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of have to put a lot of background information to.
No. I'm just going to say this: issue 3 is going to come with and it's going to be a stretch goal because they're not cheap to make. But you remember, like in Ralphie and Christmas Story,
Ovaltine,
the Ovaltine decoder pin.
Yeah.
We're going to be including one of those with issue 3 as a stretch goal.
This must be an American thing. You're going to have to explain this to me. I don't know what you're talking about.
A decoder pin?
Christmas Story.
Yeah, Christmas Story. Michael, come on.
You know when Ralphie he's listening to the radio show and he's like, make sure you get out your Ovaltine decoder pin, and then make sure you drink all your Ovaltine.
I'm not familiar with it. I'm sorry. We have Milo here in Australia. Have you heard of that?
Have what?
Milo.
No, I've heard of Vegemite. I've heard.
No, Milo is nice. Milo is a malt chocolate thing, but it's not a black tar yeast based spread. No, Milo's not.
I've had Vegemite, Marmite. My dad worked in Australia in the 70s. That's where my older brother was born. And he brought.
Do you know where in Australia?
It's like if Australia was the United States, he was in Florida. So lower.
Melbourne. It's where I am. Victoria.
There you go. Yep. Thank you.
Yeah, that's where I am.
Yeah. Oh, crazy. Okay. Well, that's where my brother was born. My dad set up like a bunch of radio towers and did all kinds of shit out there for communications. But we had all kinds of like Australian stuff, especially a lot of the Aboriginal things,
Yeah.
A lot of that stuff. My dad brought a lot of the didgeridoos, those weird rain stick things.
Yep.
Some masks, of course, the Marmite and Vegemite, which is fucking awful. I don't know how you guys eat that, man.
I don't eat it. Sorry, I don't eat it.
Good man. It's like
we don't even have it in our house. My wife is French. She would not even accept it in our house. So.
Good.
She won't even entertain the idea.
The way I describe it to somebody is if you took like a multivitamin, soaked it in water, became paste, and spread on bread. That's what Vegemite tasted like. This very minerally salty.
Are you familiar with it, Will?
Yeah, I mean, remember we were making fun of you about it in the first stream?
Yeah, you were.
It's the go-to yank joke when you talk to Australians.
Yeah, it's pretty bizarre. It's pretty bizarre. Even when I was a kid, and that's how they get you in on it. All the advertising is, it's all to young children because they get you in early, and you're kind of hooked on it then. But even as a kid, I'm like, why are you trying to feed me this salty tar black substance?
Is there like inoculations in it or something? They want you taking it?
I don't know. They try and say like it's super healthy for you, and I don't know what's going on there.
Well, if they're pushing it, I would say no. I'm not going near it. My kids aren't going near it. My dog's not going near it.
Yeah, where did it even come from, and why is it only popular here? If it was such a good product, why are we the only ones in the entire world who eat it?
They're trying to keep the natural genius of the Australian people, tamped down so you don't rule the world.
Well, we do take over a lot when we go around. Look, we're slowly taking over the Comicsgate. We've already taken over Hollywood.
There's a lot. Yeah. You got Replicator Rob and Clayton Barton.
Well, they had to take out Steve Irwin. I mean, he was getting too popular.
He was our national treasure. We all poured out a drink when poor old Steve died.
He's got a son, Stingray. We all know how he went out.
Yeah, he's got a son who was a baby when he died, and now his son, like when I say he's a baby. So this son did not have any interaction with Steve, and he is a spitting image. Not only just obviously, he's his son, how he looks, but how he acts, how he talks, everything. It's the same enthusiasm, and now he's starting to do the US like talk show rounds, and it's spooky. Like it's just pure genetics, He's just inherited that Irwin enthusiasm.
So he just goes like, a crocodile sticks his head in its mouth, like, look.
Yeah. Goes out and finds a turd. That's one of the funniest things I ever saw Steve Irwin do. He's out in the jungle, finds a tiger turd in the jungle, picks it up with his fingers, and goes, look, poo, and then he puts it in his pocket, in his shirt pocket for later.
There's a lot of interesting things in poo.
That's a good one. My favorite was when he was being besieged by the Komodo dragons when they were chasing. He just goes, "Hey, look!" And they start chasing him and the cameraman. They're like,
run up into the tree.
Yeah, and they're like, "Look, he's really mad."
The South Park version of it was great. I'm gonna shove my thumb up his ass.
Oh, she's a cranky Sheila, that one.
Oh yeah. South Park have been very good to the Aussies. They did that whole episode with Russell Crowe, remember? Fighting around the world.
Look, they're gang members. They want to fight.
Look at this panel, Dan. Did you draw all this?
Yeah.
I want to show something actually. I pulled this up, and of course, I'm not doing the share. Why did I share just a tab and then not the audio?
That's just how fast Dan drew that too. You know, like it's insane the speed.
Well, that's what I want to show is this, because this is spooky stuff. You got to talk a bit about this. I'll just show the video first. I'm not going to share the audio so we can kind of talk over it. Oh, hang on, what's going on there? All right, I'll just show it and zoom in.
Oh yeah, Space Monkey.
So this is just all just out of your head, yeah?
Yeah. I have these pictures in my head, and then I try to hold them there, and then I basically transfer them to paper.
So you're like me. I remember hearing you say this. You have memories from when you're 2, yeah?
Yeah.
I've never found another person. I have memories from when I'm 2 as well. And,
well, that's why I want to hear more about your lucid dreaming process, because what you're witnessing here was the result of me seeing Kim Jong-gi do it in late 2012 and me being perplexed, and then thinking about my deficiencies as far as why I couldn't do it. And then systematically, I said, how can I improve myself? How can I improve myself to where I can do it? So and I did the same thing with learning how to do a Rubik's Cube. You know, I couldn't do it, and then now I can. So that's why when you talk about the lucid dreaming thing and how you worked on it, I definitely want to hear more about that, because I'll make it a fucking mission. You know.
Right, well, the best experience you're ever going to have lucid dreaming, right, is when you do a wake induced one, because you're going to be in more control. When you're actually dreaming and asleep, first of all, unless you do techniques which can be a bit time consuming, and so you kind of have to do them regularly, and it's hard to remember. Unless you have a really, really wacky sleep pattern, it's going to be hard for you to keep them and maintain them. So the best thing you can do is learn to do a wake-induced lucid dream, which is just a meditation. Yeah. And you lie down flat, and the way I used to do it is you start with your toes, and you just picture your toes going to sleep, and then you kind of just work up. I know that sounds like weird. Like
I have this app called Headspace, and it's guided meditation, and they do the same thing where they're basically doing sort of a body scan all the way up and becoming.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. So you can actually feel your body getting heavy, and you just have to stick with it as the bits, as the parts of your body just become heavy and tight. It might, might not work the first few times, and it might take a long time, but you just lie down.
Sometimes you fall asleep. I've fallen asleep doing that a bunch of times. Yeah,
there's all sorts of things you can come up unstuck with, but once you get it, it's freaking amazing, man. So your body just falls asleep up your body, and then you get it to your head. And then by the time you get it to your head, you are in a very unusual state of mind. It's not anything that you're really familiar with. And you just start noticing things. And then for me, it was just like a sense, just a feeling. I couldn't describe it in words, but I knew that my body has sort of passed into the sleep mode, but I'm still conscious the whole way. And then at that point, now you've got to try and separate your consciousness from your body, because it's still linked. Right. And this is the crazy part. And this part is also the scary part. A lot of people don't go past this part because you can start hallucinating. You can start having nightmares. And like people, this is the moment. It's very akin to sleep paralysis. This is the moment where people will describe, someone is on top of them, holding them down. They might actually hallucinate that someone is holding them down, and that just freaks them out, and they wake themselves up. So you've got to stay relaxed. Whatever comes into your mind, you've got to remember that you're the one who's in control. And then you've got to, you can still move your eyes. Although your eyes are going to be closed, you can still move your tongue. That's the same when you're sleeping normally. Your eyes will move and your tongue will move. So you just sort of start from there. I started with my tongue, and I just kind of move it around and sort of feel and go, okay, I'm trying to like pull myself out of my body. This is, I guess, like where people come up with astral projection and stuff. I don't believe in that, but the experience is real. You can experience this, and what will happen is you will pull yourself up out of your body. Your dream self, and you can stand there in your bedroom and look down at your body, and it is as real as you put your hand in front of you right now and look at it. You can knock on the desk. I mean, it is all real,
right?
And it's a freaking crazy experience. And the first time I ever successfully did it, and I'm standing there in my bedroom looking down at myself sleeping, just thinking, this is the trippiest shit I've ever experienced.
I love that.
Queen Elizabeth walks into my room, into my bedroom, and I just freak the hell out and wake up straight away. And I was like, all right, I got to do this again. Yeah. So, and then from there, I remember one time I did it, and I'm like, I'm going to fly up because I've been practicing flying. When I first
that's
started,
all I would do, man.
When I first started, it was just like I'm floating around. You're just using your own willpower. I was just sort of floating around, and I was kind of like swimming in the air. It wasn't really working very well.
That's how flying is in my dreams. I end up, I have to run, sort of jump, bound off a wall like you would in a swimming pool to kind of propel myself. But you get just enough energy, but you're not like propelled by any motor or force. You kind of have to crouching tiger, hidden dragon sort of.
That's kind of float around, and you because you're still stuck in your mindset of that. It's because it is that real. You're still kind of stuck in a mindset, but you can practice it, and some Poland actually said Neo in the thing. By the end, I was flying like Neo does in the second Matrix film. And
doing
I remember
Superman
one time,
thing again.
I was exactly. I wanted to see how high I could fly up. I actually flew up into space and was looking down on Earth. I mean, vividly, absolutely vividly. It was the most insane experience. So this stuff is like in my head for years and years. It's like, wow, that actually happened. I did that in these hallucinations. And that's sort of why I felt like I've always needed to write a story kind of that's somewhat related to all this stuff. And you can do. I remember another thing I like to do was push my hand through things, so like through a mirror or through glass, and all this sort of stuff. It's there's my wife.
You know what?
No cocaine involved. No white drugs. No drugs of any kind. And when I was doing this is all just gleaned from old, like very late 90s, early 2000s internet sites, back when they were HTML sites with flashing GIFs in the background and stuff. So I didn't know if any of this would actually be real. And when I finally achieved it, it was crazy. But now on YouTube, there's whole communities, huge communities, just full of people talking about lucid dreaming and sharing their experiences and telling you
what I find interesting. What I find interesting in all this is the thematical repetition, right? Like the idea that you and I are separated by oceans, and we have the same experience flying. We're not Superman, right? We're bounding. The idea of reaching into a mirror or glass is very much like through the looking glass, like the Lewis Carroll or the Mickey Mouse or even Neo in the Matrix. It makes you wonder about the human condition, or at least the consistencies between stories. It makes you think like there's something bigger. It's almost like when you hear about the gray alien stories, like how can two people who have never met that couldn't have heard the other person's story or been aware of the gray alien at the time have the same description. You know what I mean?
Oh man, I love all that stuff. We could go on
Or
for
it's
hours.
like everyone has the same dream when they're on DMT.
Right. I love your buildings, man.
Oh, cheers. Yeah, I wanted to pull this up because everyone has the dream about falling, yeah?
Yeah.
Everyone has that dream, whether it's and you know, usually most people they're not trained in their dreams. You know, they don't have experience controlling them. So I don't know if you can see down here at the bottom, she's actually leaning back into it. And, that's the theme that runs throughout the Lucid is her falling or jumping or whatever and going down from high places.
It's beautiful.
And the you know, the control of all that stuff, and you know, that's a kind of a metaphor for
I'll tell you, man, I'm completely blown away with the fact that you're a one-stop shop guy. You know, the fact that you're writing, penciling, inking, coloring, all this stuff. I'm like, I have no idea how anybody can do that. It might be because my reality is 4 kids, you know. But
it might be.
You said you had 2 kids, though, right?
Yeah, I've got an 8-year-old and a 2-year-old.
Yeah, so yeah, you know what the baby stuff's like.
Yeah, look, the production really did slow down when little Clark was born a couple of years ago. But it's all starting to get back to normal.
Yeah,
I wake up early and draw, and then I draw a little bit after work as well. I'm like you, man. The first thing I want to do when I get up is draw. That's just all I want to do.
Amen. I mean, I love my baby. We have a 1-year-old, but like I can't wait to get to the board, and I keep a sketchbook everywhere. Like there's one in the car.
I've seen some of your sketches. They're freaking amazing, man. The heads. I saw like you're just doodling.
Yeah.
That's really good.
I like to keep the blade sharp, but you know, it's being methodical, and I think you absolutely understand it, because in order to do what you're talking about with the lucid dreaming, you kind of have to stay on the ball, right? You can't dabble in it. You either have to be into it or not into it. There's no dabbling, and that's how I feel about when I draw. I can't dabble in drawing, or I wouldn't get better, and I wouldn't feel the confidence. Like there was a point in time, and I was on Ethan's stream a couple weeks ago where we were both talking about drawing, and
I caught it.
Yeah, he had mentioned that drawing's hard for him. That he likened it, or Brian Ballin had likened it to drowning and trying to swim to the surface. That's what it felt like to draw a page. And the thing is I can absolutely understand it, because I was in a place where that was the case for me, and I would dread getting to the drawing board, because most of the time it was like praying to the muses that it wouldn't suck, and then it would, and then you fight it, and then you find all kinds of ways to like make yourself feel that serotonin burst. So you go and grab a candy bar or a beer, or put on a favorite movie, do anything you can to avoid the pain of it being so difficult and hard. But what ended up happening for me once I left comics and started doing storyboards for a living is they didn't care how it looked. They cared about whether or not I could tell a story clearly, and whether or not I could do it in a timely fashion. So what I found as a storyboard artist was that I was drawing every day. I was pushing those visualization muscles. And when I got to Mattel, when I was working at Mattel, I didn't get to draw as much, because a lot of what I had to do was oversee an ultimate vision over something and supervise it. As a supervising director, as a supervising director, you kind of have to oversee a vision. So you have to constantly communicate that across multiple departments. I mean, you know animation. So as a director, you're working with your story department. You're working with your art department, which is characters and backgrounds, and effects if you have effects. And I'm talking Flash 2D right now, just that pipeline. At Mattel, we were doing multiple pipelines, but still, you still have character and background. You have a lighting person. You also have music and budget and things like that. As a supervising director, I have to direct those people, including the director. So I have to sit with a story team. I have to sit with all this. So my point that I'm trying to make is I didn't have a lot of time to draw when, I'll answer that one, Gigadeath. That's a really good question. I didn't get to do as much drawing, but I was always feeling really itchy, and like this anxious feeling. So I would draw often, all the time in meetings. And what I found was I started to enjoy it, especially after I had learned this Kim Jong-gi thing in 2012. It felt like a magic trick, almost like the lucid dreaming. Imagine being able to invent something in your mind and pull it out of your mind and put it on paper for people to see. And it didn't feel hard. It felt like it's supposed to happen. The only part of it that's hard is the patience. I wish I drew even faster. I can draw for about 10, 12 hours straight, but I wish I drew more and got more done in that 10 to 12 hours. Like this, the thing you're looking at with all the detail there, that's a double page spread, and that represents 2.5 days of work. And that's from start to finish.
That's crazy to me. See, it does sound like magic to me that you can just knock that out.
Yeah. Well, that to me now is a pleasure. Like, I'm like, fuck yeah, I get to draw a gorilla like ripping, this thing apart, and I get to draw this guy teleporting, and I get, I get super excited about all the things we have planned, and it becomes a pleasure to do. So I not only know what Ethan's talking about as far as like, sometimes it is tough, it's like a wrestling with the muses, but I've also passed beyond that barrier and find it to be a great pleasure. Somebody's got whiskey, man.
That's Bandito. He has a regular ice cube sound.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah. That's his.
We're drinking. We're finishing off a
accent.
bottle.
I got Whistle Pig 10-year rye right here. I told
Dan, why don't you
Cheers.
answer that question by Gigadeath? And
got
we've
Biscuit
got
Pig.
a question for Will in the chat.
Gigadeath.
No, they can't see my bottle of whiskey that I'm showing if you're putting other people's stuff over top of my thumbnail.
Sorry.
Just
sorry.
so you know.
I'll answer. Oh, there it is. Look at that. Oh, monkey shoulder. That's good stuff. That's Scotch, though, right?
Yeah, malt Scotch.
Yeah. Here's storyboarding. It was easy for me to go from comics to storyboarding because I know how to draw and I know how to tell a story, and there is a there's sort of a limit. There's like almost like a chess game. You're going to either move the camera up, down, push, right to left, come in, crane. If you understand composition and movement and how you don't cross a line and go, understand what coverage it takes, it ends up becoming not formulaic, but like it becomes something that feels second nature. So going from comics to storyboards felt very easy and natural for me. But when I went from comics to storyboards was easy. Going from storyboards back into comics, I've actually felt a bit of resistance in the beginning because there are a lot of things in comics that are almost exclusive to being comic book-like. So if you're talking about moving a scene, in film and in storyboards, it doesn't matter who talks first. You can have the guy in the background talk first and the guy in the foreground answer, and then the guy in the midground say something, and have a car go by and turn and suddenly, have a new setup, and it doesn't matter who talks first. In a comic book, because of the nature of us reading from left to right and top to bottom, you kind of have to stage it in a way where that is the best flow. You also have to consider the graphic nature of the page and how it moves with shape language from top to bottom, left to right, and into the other page. So you're concerning yourself with that. You're also concerning yourself with like the aesthetics of style. Is there
anything from storyboarding that's transferred over that's been a benefit that doesn't typically get taught in
Yeah.
sequentials?
Absolutely, good question, man. Yeah,
That's what I'm here for.
Yeah,
Good
yeah.
question.
It's a lot of it comes into economy. You know, there's a buddy of mine, Joseph. I think he invented this term, but he calls it MESIX, and it's basically one shot that conveys a lot of information. So, for example, the one I use the most is from Steven Spielberg's War of the Worlds. You're watching a news report. Suddenly, a hand comes into frame with a remote and turns the news report off, and you see the reflection of Justin Chatwin, Tom Cruise's son, in the reflection of the TV. Camera pulls back, revealing Tom Cruise. And you get the idea of space. You get the idea that they're facing off against each other. You got the information of the news report itself.
That gives me chills hearing that too.
The camera never broke. It didn't cut once. And you go, man, there's so much fucking economy in what he did there. Yeah. I try to do that with some of my shots too. I try to give as much information, as much story points as I can. You know, but we don't have the advent of movement. I could, but in storyboards and in comics, you know, you'd have to start with that news report, second drawing hand coming in, third drawing reflection, fourth drawing with arrows pointing out, revealing Tom Cruise. So that's, you know, that's 1, 2, 3 panels, four panels in storyboards. How can you do the same thing in a comic? You can't, but you can do things with the comic that are completely unique to a comic book itself. But I think they both help each other.
We've got some questions for Will here.
Yeah.
What about how do you feel about the success of Black Flag, and are you settled in to keep the series going as long as you and FRAGA want to do it?
I mean, honestly, I'm pretty blindsided by the success of this whole thing. I mean, Dan and I always knew that it would do well. We'd get enough to do the first one and the second one and keep going. But we didn't think that we would get our goal, you know, to pay ourselves for the entire campaign in the first, you know, 20 minutes. That never occurred to us.
You guys should have come and talked to me. Like I was telling Michael Bancroft that, you know, he was going to get there. He was going to be making, you know, 2 or 3, 4 stretch goals. Yeah. And I could tell as soon as you were talking to people, FRAGA, that you guys had something magical. You know, you had a project, you had something that was going to really take the distance. So
you can't read the label when you're in the jar. So
it's true.
Very true.
The Johari window. I know exactly what you mean, man.
Is that something called? What is the Johari window? What is that?
The Johari window is where you're standing in your house, looking outside the window. And you can see everyone else's trash fires. You can see what's going on in the neighbor's yard. You know the kids are problems in through the windows and stuff.
Yeah.
But while you're looking out your window, you can't see anything that's happening in your house. So the Johari window is only other people can see into your house. They're the ones that see what's giving you problems. They're the reasons they can see what's happening with you. And we don't often have that insight into ourselves. And really the only way that we can understand what's happening in our house is by how other people interact with us. So you know, it's the people outside saying, hey, your house is on fire, right? Yeah. So, and that's typically how we have to gauge our own interaction is really what that says about us. Anyway, I don't want to derail too.
Sorry, go ahead, Will. Sorry.
That part's been the most gratifying. What he just said is the people coming in from the outside going, whoa, you know, we're really excited about this.
Yeah.
But the other half of the question, what I like about the CG format, where it's not monthly books trying to keep, you know, arcs going over, you know, 30, 40 issues, is that in terms of me working with Dan while he's willing to draw it, we're not going to be doing these books just ad hoc. There's going to be a story. We tell the story in 1, 2, 3, or 4 issues. It's finished. We do something else, and then we come back to it and we have another story to tell, and we tell it in 3 or 4 issues. And it's going to be Dan as long as he wants to draw it, or it's going to be a damn good artist that's going to take its place. Because one of the things I hated about Image, and this is once again the promise of Image, was you would get this amazing creative team on the first 2 issues, and they would all be gone by issue 3, and it would just be, I don't want to say bench warmers, but it would be people that, it would almost be like a bait and switch. They
Try to
Stephen
be
Platt.
a fan of Mike Zeck's Punisher miniseries, and then get to Mike Voss on issue 5.
Right.
Oh man,
Or
that
like,
happened with so many things. I remember because I actually have this from way back.
Oh
in the
yeah,
day.
that was my very first narrative stuff on that Zero issue.
And I got this.
Oh, Brian Murray,
Yeah, and I picked this up,
Walt Simonson cover.
and I picked this up.
You know, I designed that cover.
You did.
Yeah, if
I
you
gotta-
if you look on the inside, it says a special thanks to Dan Fraga in there.
Oh,
I
well, I got,
think
I gave
Wildstorm
Jim
had
that
the same
idea.
problem, to tell you the truth. With this, they couldn't just keep an artist or a team together.
yeah.
I think that was more of a Wildstorm problem because at least Rob and Brian Murray and those guys, Brian Murray was on that book for at least 12 issues.
I think it was 8.
Yeah,
I think
Rob
it was
was on Youngblood for 7 issues. Chap Yep was
Right.
on Team Youngblood forever, right? It was him and Cedric Neocon, right? For forever on Team Youngblood. So
Yeah.
Extreme was pretty consistent. It was only when you got to the heavy hitters like Stephen Platt where you were like, oh I got to wait, or, he's off of profit, and you miss him.
Yeah.
You know?
We've only
But-
only got a few minutes left, and we've got a couple of questions. If you could just quickly run through them, because we always like to hail the chat here and
Yeah,
get
let's
them
do it.
involved.
Let's do
We've
it.
got questions like, how is it like to shape someone else's creation? A bit on your writing process. Any inspirations from the Black Flag run?
Yeah. Will, you want to handle
in terms
the first one?
of reshaping, I'm not reshaping anything because I'm just playing kind of archaeologist here. Dan has a very strong visual idea of where he wants this all to go, and he had an outline that was very front loaded and very detailed. It's me coming in sort of with the brush and dusting around the ruins, trying to figure out what the hole is in his head, and filling in the brick and mortar. But there's a structure there.
Yeah.
So my job is to make sense of the very detailed first half and then completely flesh out with him the last half on
Nice.
this.
And is there anything interesting you want to say about your writing process?
Mine is, if I was left to my own devices, it'd be pretty standard. But when it comes to Dan, it's been very interesting and kind of frustrating learning because, I know
Sorry about that, buddy.
well, I have no one wants to feel like they're not working all the time, right? But Dan insists that we do this as a dialectic, right?
Yeah.
Like
we
in real time.
very, very much volley back and forth.
Right, and I'm getting used to that. We're orbiting around each other. We're talking, then smashing, and then sparks fly, and that's cool stuff right there.
Yeah.
Temporary process.
And here's the thing, like he was saying, the outline is there. Like the shape of, if we were sculpting something, that shape is there. But what we're going in is deciding what gets beveled, what gets smoothed, what gets roughed, for it to become its final form. But ultimately, the shape is there. But the detail and luxury of the ride is defined by our collaborations.
Mm-hmm. We call them either pearls on a string, or as I like to call them, non-submersible units, where we have 7 or 8 good bits, great bit, and then we just my job is really to come in and put
it all together.
The sinew between the great bits, because
I
Dan
love
already
that.
had the big bits.
Yeah, I have the pearls, like point A, point B, point C. But what makes point A and point B, or connective tissue between M and B, and why that's so important for the resolve in X, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that cannot be underplayed enough, because you look at like Zack Snyder.
Yeah.
That guy puts out a lot of pearls, but getting from point A to point B in his movies, it feels like there's only a lot of scenes. There isn't a lot of story. Right. So that cannot be understated enough how valuable that is.
And I stole that label, non-submersible units, from Stanley Kubrick, because if you watch all of his movies, it's basically a series of these big moments, kind of connected. They're big moments and they're easy to connect, but you can see that they're a series of big moments.
Yeah.
Just really big moments, like 2001, right? And what's cool about 2001 is that they don't quite line up.
Yeah.
Well, guys,
we're trying to make it line up.
Did you see? Okay.
What's that?
No,
I
I've
want
just
to
read.
keep it to an hour. Yeah. It's been an honor to have you guys on because ever since you sort of popped onto the scene, Dan, I've just been a fan. Your work and your words and your attitude, and you're a real entertainer too on YouTube. So yeah, I just really humbled that you come on the show. It's been really a lot of fun for me to chat to you guys. And Will, we met a few weeks ago. And always enjoy talking to you because you seem like a real, you're really into the craft and everything, and a cool dude. So it's just been great to have you on here. And I hope everyone in the chat has backed Black Flag. I know I have. And yeah, you guys are on friggin' 2,000 backers.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah,
it's a Comicsgate success story.
It's very exciting. I'm really stoked that
0.5 book, Dan.
Yeah,
Almost
we're so
there.
close to 150, which unlocks our whole new issue. We have this tryout page. If you go to send your Black Flag pencils, inks, colors, that sort of thing to ICU Tryout Hub. That's ICU TRYOUTHUB @gmail.com. We're going to be reviewing those late this month, early next month, and get some stories in there. Definitely, we're going to have a fan art section. But the 0.5 issue is something that can only happen when we cross the 150 threshold.
And you're so close. So I mean,
so very close.
And Michael, you got to come over to the Couch Doodles show.
Absolutely. I would love to do that. So just drop me a line whenever, Dan, and I'll come over.
We'll make it happen.
Excellent. All right, guys, this has been fantastic. Everyone in the chat, thank you so much for sticking around and enjoying this great conversation. Make sure you pick up Black Flag and the Lucid if you haven't already. I mean, you're all here, you probably have, but we'll see you tomorrow. We're going to have Skits on.
Oh, Skits! So, what a fun comic, man. They're great.
Yeah, we're going to have a lot of fun with them, and that's all about dreaming as well. So we're going to have some good talk on that. All right, guys, thanks again, and we'll see you all soon.
Thank you.
Well,
take care.
Thank you very much.
Hey, everyone.
See you later.